How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid, which ended up posting a green day being up 5.42% on the day. We saw a strong run up in power hour today. Of course, Lucid benefited from this as well as many other tech stocks. But one thing we have to talk about, what does it look like going into tomorrow? We know we have a volatile week. I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $19.06, being up 5.42%. On the low, it tested $17.65, and then on the high, testing $19.10. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 19.091 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 22.935 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, but we did see some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is our daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 39.88. And then taking a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 200-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that we are trading below all of our major moving averages. And as far as where we tested on the lows at $17.65, and if you know, as far as for this mid $17 area, it is familiar. It is known to be strong support for Lucid. And knowing that it held up was no surprise. We ended up seeing a high of $19.10. I was actually expecting a bit more considering we saw a fairly strong rally for power hour. But as far as going into tomorrow, it doesn't mean that we can't continue to make some gains. What would that look like? Of course, I'd want to see us get to at least $20. The last time we got to this area, it was around $20.01 where it got some resistance. So if it can break through this level, then I want to see us making a move to the 21-day EMA, which is around $20.65. And reclaiming this level, things can definitely get interesting. But we do know if we have weakness in these markets, we also have the FOMC meeting for this week as well. And if we have a pullback, of course, we want to continue to see strength in the support areas that we're well known about, but we also want to see a higher low as well, because that would show us that it's on a bullish trend. So most preferably, you don't want to see it holding up at least $18 or maybe around $18.50 in regards to that higher low. So let's see how it performs for the next trading day. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. Scrolling down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So taking a look at the recent filings from May the 2nd, we have Arcadios Wealth Advisors that closed out their position, but we have Allspring Global Investment Holdings that purchased 402 shares, and then we have Alpha Market Advisors LLC that purchased 200 shares. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 56.38%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 3.7 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 0, updated 2 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 10.63%. Taking a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we can see for the close of the 28th, it was at 63.28, and then for the close of the 29th, being at 56.38, and then taking a look at the short interest percentage of the float being at 19.03%, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see here on the inflow, it's at 50.03 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 69.15 million. So we had an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 1.73. On the medium, it was 26.74, and then on the small, it was 21.56. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 6.85. On the medium, it was 38.90, and then on the small, it was 23.40. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for May the 2nd, which is today, we had an outflow of 5.12 million. No surprises, we did have a strong sell-off that was happening in the earlier parts of the day. And then when we analyze the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tend to represent the retail side, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.16%. So this is a consistent range for Lucid. And considering how volatile the market was, we saw Lucid get down to a low of a very familiar area in the mid $17 range. I should say $17.64 to be exact, and was able to have a strong finish. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when it comes to the price action, most preferably if we have a strong day inside of the market and we do gain some momentum, since we do have earnings that is coming up on Thursday, I want to see a higher low. Most preferably, whether it might be $18 or $18.50. I don't feel this is a lot to ask. We did end up testing a low of the day at $17.65, which has been a proven area of support for Lucid as of late. So that's why I want to see this area continue to hold, and we want to see a bullish move to the upside, at least getting to $20 before going into earnings. And the reason why I want to emphasize this, because the high that we got to the last time in the $20 range was at $20.01. So I feel if we could break through this level, I'd want to see some bulls starting to step in and see if we could push this stock up even further. Now, if we decide to have a pullback, remember what I said, I want to see a higher low. But if we're unable to do that, then I can look forward to us making another test back to that mid $17 level. We also can't forget the fact that we have the FOMC meeting that's going to be going down over Tuesday and Wednesday. And this will have an impact on the market as a whole. And so that's something that we cannot ignore. So again, at least you guys know what it looks like in regards to the upside and how it looks like towards the downside. And like I've said in previous videos, if we end up breaking through that mid $17 range, the next area of support is around $16.10. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, of course, institutions have continued to load up on shares. We know as far as Lucid is concerned, it is mainly owned by institutions, and that's why we see a good amount of activity. And then taking a look at the short interest information, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. But what could really get this stock going? A lot more buying pressure. Where can that buying pressure come from? And where I can see it coming from if they end up putting up a big surprise in regards to their earnings report. I said in my previous video, I am not expecting anything big whatsoever from this report. But again, if we end up having a surprise, then I'm looking forward to seeing Lucid actually gain a lot of momentum and maybe try to reclaim $22. So if you are an investor, I would continue to have patience when it comes to this play. We have a lot of volatility for this week. And then as far as if you are a trader, like I said before earlier, at least you know what levels that you need to play off of. If the market is weak and Lucid has that pullback, just look for that turnaround as far as for calls to the upside. But if it looks like that it's not going to be turning around and it's going to continue to struggle under key support levels, then look out for that pullback. It is very straightforward, and also make sure you're using the right risk management. All right, I want to make sure you guys are actually trading with the trend. You don't need to trade against the trend, but if you are going to be taking that approach, you have to make sure you have that stop loss in place so you minimize your losses. In order to be a great trader, minimizing your losses is very key. Minimize those losses and let those winners run. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how this stock performs for the next trading day. We'll talk soon.